Okay, everyone, Adam here. So, as you can see up on the screen, what you're actually looking at is one of the servers that we use here at CWire to produce the event. You can see that it's a moderately powerful machine, but obviously it sits here in my office. It's got a GeForce 4080 and a Ryzen 9 9900X. So this is squarely in the realm of the prosumer. A lot of people have these machines. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm in a Linux prompt right now. What I'm going to do is actually install DeepSeek onto this machine and start using it. This is why grifters like the folks at OpenAI are freaking out because an enthusiast or basically anybody can now take this OpenAI model or whatever the AI model, and apparently DeepSeek was used a lot of OpenAI for its training apparently, so they're kind of upset about that. But no honor among thieves. And so you can actually set up your own version of DeepSeek at home. Remember that OpenAI's business model was to create this impenetrable moat that they would use. So you'd have to query their servers if you wanted to use AI and pay them every time you did. So if you wanted to build an application that used AI, you'd actually have to use their stuff. And the key difference with DeepSeek was that they made the algorithm hundreds or thousands of times more efficient. So it can actually run on regular consumer hardware. And more importantly, they made it open source, which means that you can download all of the software and run it for yourself. So you don't need to rely on a company like OpenAI. You don't need to pay them every time you want to use it. And your data is also much more secure because it lives on your local server. So when we set up this copy of DeepSeek here, every time we use it, none of that data gets sent out to wherever. It all stays here locally. So for all these reasons, the big AI companies that have made these multi-billion-dollar investments are really scared because suddenly they're seeing that, first of all, installing all of that hardware was overkill and probably useless. These billions and billions of dollars worth of video cards in data centers. But even more scary to them, again, the moat is gone and people can just set up their own copies of this at home and create their own applications that work without the input of these large companies. It wouldn't surprise me at all if a lot of the hosting companies, like the place where we host ODwire and CWire, if they set up their own instances of DeepSeek that you can use as a consumer, and then essentially what you're just paying for is the hardware, just like we do now with ODwire, right? We pay for the bandwidth of ODwire when people use it. We pay for the machines that run it, and I have a feeling it's going to be the same thing with DeepSeek. If people don't want to go through the process that I'm actually engaging in right now on the screen, I could easily see companies providing that service of having this preset up and ready to go, where you have your own server sitting in the cloud where the data is protected and you don't have to pay to use it other than paying for the machine that's running it. And you can see here, it's just about finishing up the process of installing the software that we use to interact with the AI on the web. Again, the web server itself is just going to be running here on my local machine, so all of this stuff is going to be local to me. It's not going anywhere to any servers elsewhere or to China or anywhere else. It's just staying right here. So that's part of the big benefit of running this yourself. So I just finished installing. So if we try to open it up right now, the user interface will start working. There it is. And you can see it's setting itself up for the first time. Looks like a lot of gibberish, but really all it's doing is getting itself ready to run. It's now telling us that it's ready to run, so we can pop open a window on the web that just hits up our local server. So here we go. So you can see it's running locally here, and there you go. So now we now have our own copy of DeepSeek up and running and ready to respond to commands. So we can sort of test how it actually works. So we'll ask it like a basic question. So like, how was DeepSeek created? Which a lot of people want to know. Okay, so you saw that it was thinking, and now it's giving us an answer. So a very basic answer, but at least it's showing us that the AI is working properly. One thing that's really important to note as we type in questions like this, look at how quickly it's giving us the answers. Again, this is, you see where it says thinking. This is what scares OpenAI so greatly, right, is that it's fast. This model is just super fast and runs on equipment that's not really exotic. Okay, so now we've got the AI running, and now this is the point where I like to assert that AI is a bunch of nonsense and certainly does not live up to the hype that people are promoting. So you can see I'm asking it the question right now, does water freeze at 27 degrees? You've seen me ask Google this question too. And you'll see that it's thinking. So it's doing a pretty good job actually of thinking quickly on my local machine. I'm really impressed by that, how much faster this is. However, what I'm not impressed by is the answer you're about to see. So as you can see, it botches this one completely. So water does not freeze at 27 degrees. Now you could say, oh, you asked the question incorrectly, right? Because technically it doesn't, right? It freezes below 32. So you might say, okay, grammatically I wasn't as clear as I could be, but look at this thing's answer. Water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. 27 degrees is colder, but not below the freezing point. So it's literally incorrect. It doesn't know what it's doing. And this should be a warning sign to everybody who relies on AI, because this is one of the most basic facts that most humans can figure out, and this thing just can't do it. And like I said, even Google, if you type this into Google, their AI can't figure it out either. This is ridiculous, right? So this is a classic example that I like to show off to people. And if you try to come up with different, if you try to come up with different ways to ask this question, you might think that it'll get it right. But I've tried it a few different ways, and it still gets it wrong. So you can see here that I'm trying to actually figure out how can I ask this in a way that the AI will come to the right answer, and it just can't. It just has problems with it. And another classic here, asking the AI a question like, how many R's are in the word strawberry? So you can try to come up with a bunch of different ways to phrase this that may or may not be accurate, but let's see what it comes back. So again, thinking. So again, completely incorrect, totally off the wall answer about an uppercase R and then 3 lowercase r's in strawberry. So again, just ridiculous, right? So completely off the wall. These are kind of simple examples, but I think the point I'm trying to make by all of this is that with information that's easily verifiable, right, by human beings, it's getting this super wrong. What about stuff that you don't actually know something about? Why can you trust anything to be correct here? And in fact, let's move on to an eye care example, because this one I thought was interesting. Okay, so here we go. Let's do an eye care example. So question for DeepSeek. So what contact lens is most oxygen permeable? Easy question, right? So let's see what it comes back with. So it's thinking. Okay, so far so good. So the most oxygen permeable lens is typically a soft lens made from polycarbonate, okay, or silicone materials, sounds good, due to their thinness and ability to allow efficient moisture and oxygen exchange. Okay, good. Hydroxycarbonyl lenses are also highly moisture permeable. Hydroxycarbonyl. So is that a synonym for something else? Is that like what is that? So I don't know if that's common parlance and I'm just unaware of it, or if this is just something that the AI made up. HCO lenses, like I don't ever remember even hearing of this. And again, it could just be a synonym for something else, but I'm looking through here at this section to me that I asked for a deeper explanation on, and I'm confused. So I think the best thing to do at this point is to just ask it what brands are made of hydroxycarbonyl. And now you can see on the screen, it's giving me its answer. And I don't think I like their answer very much. So it's talking about these HCO lenses and some popular brands who make them. So first of all, they said something, they have high moisture permeability ratings, making them ideal for individuals who need excellent breathability. So I'm not sure if that makes sense. But moving further, looking down the page, look at those brands. So obviously Bausch and Alcon are real brands, but what the heck is Infinity? Infinity contacts with a Y that are somehow moisture wicking, like a pair of yoga pants, and Galilean lenses. So I'm not really sure about this. So I mean, they could be specialty brands, right? I have no idea. But I did a quick Google search, and I can't really find much of anything. I saw one cosmetic lens that was called Infinity that looked like it was produced in Asia, but I don't know. And so I kind of have to wonder. So even as a somewhat of a subject matter expert, getting results like this they're concerning, right? Because I'm not sure of the accuracy of any of this. So I'd really like to hear a conversation around this about what everyone thinks about this data that it's spitting back. So in my mind, AI in general, this sort of generative AI, and people saying that there's this general intelligence that's coming, this is not ready for prime time at all. And I'm not sure if it ever will be, even if you throw $100 billion at it or whatever ridiculous thing is that they were saying. I kind of feel like just seeing all of the hype around this is another blockchain situation. This is another metaverse situation. This is people casting around for the next big thing, for the lack of having a current big thing. And they're really trying to push something that I'm not really sure even exists at this point. So it's a good parlor trick. It's fun, but I don't know how you can rely on any of the data that something that's like this actually spits out. And again, DeepSeek is pretty much the same as OpenAI or any of the other models. They're all very similar to one another in terms of the quality of the data that comes out of them. So anywho, that's my little AI post for the day. I thought you'd find this all very amusing. When I heard that you could actually set up this DeepSeek model on your own machines, I was a little bit skeptical. I thought it would be a pain to do. But to be honest with you, it was one of the more simple setups I've seen. I thought this would take all day, not 10 minutes. So that's why I just wanted to film this to let people know.